You know that feeling, right? Staring at a blank page, absolutely terrified you have nothing original to say? Well, what if I told you that this constant pressure to be original is the very thing that's holding you back? Today, we're going to jump into Austin Kleon's brilliant book, Steal Like an Artist, and uncover a way to be creative that's honestly just so much more freeing.
Okay, let's just get right to the most important idea in the entire book. Nothing is original. Now I know, that might sound a little bleak, but stick with me, because it's actually the best news you'll hear all day. It means you can finally stop trying to make something out of thin air and instead start embracing all the incredible stuff that inspires you.
See, all creative work, and I mean all of it, builds on what came before. This isn't some new age idea, it's even in the Bible. There is nothing new under the sun. And once you really let that sink in, it's like this massive weight is lifted. You're freed from the impossible task of being the very first person to ever do something.
Now to be super clear, we're not talking about plagiarism here. When T.S. Eliot talks about stealing, he means taking an idea, really understanding it, transforming it, and making it into something that is totally your own. It's about honoring your influences, not just mindlessly copying them.
And this brings us right to the heart of the book. Instead of seeing yourself as some lone genius, you need to start thinking of yourself as a remix artist. Your job isn't to create out of a vacuum. Your job is to find existing ideas and smash them together in new and interesting ways. That's it. That's the secret sauce. Seriously, whether you're talking music, writing, business, whatever, innovation happens when we connect the dots in a way nobody else has. It's kind of like that old art school trick where you draw two lines and suddenly a third line, the negative space, appears between them. You know, 1 + 1 = 3.
Think about it this way. You have a mother and a father, right? You've got features from both of them, but you are a completely new, totally unique combination. You're basically a genetic remix.
Well, the same exact logic applies to your creativity. Your ideas have a family tree. But here's the cool part. Unlike with your actual family, you get to choose your creative ancestors. You get to handpick your heroes, your teachers, and all the work that's going to shape you.
The German writer Goethe absolutely nailed it with this one. You are the sum of your influences. The books you decide to read, the music you have on repeat, the art you stop and stare at, all of it becomes a part of your creative DNA.
But this means you have to be intentional about it. An artist isn't a hoarder who just collects any old junk. Nope, they're a curator, selectively collecting only the things they truly, deeply love. Remember that old saying, garbage in, garbage out? Well, it's true. The quality of what you make is directly tied to the quality of what you consume. Okay, so you're on board with embracing influence. Great, but what about that other huge barrier? That nagging feeling that you're just not good enough to even start? Yeah, let's tackle that one head on. Sound familiar? This is imposter syndrome. And let me tell you a little secret. Every single person doing real creative work feels this way. They have no idea where the good stuff is coming from. They just show up every single day, and they do the work. We all live with this, don't we? This internal struggle. On one side, you've got the work you're capable of making right now, and on the other, you have this amazing, perfect work you see in your head. There is always a gap. The big question is, how on earth do you get across it? You bridge that gap by faking it till you make it. Now, this doesn't mean being a phony. It means you pretend to be the artist you want to become, until one day, you look around and realize you actually are that artist. You dress the part, you do the work, you act like you belong in the room, and pretty soon, you do.
So, what is the very first concrete step you can take to get onto that bridge? You start by copying. Find your heroes and you start copying their work. Not to sell it, but to figure out how they did it.
Okay, and this part is super important. Copying is for practice. It's like a mechanic taking apart an engine just to see how it works. You're reverse engineering the work to understand the thinking that went into it. Plagiarism is just stealing somebody else's work for credit. We're talking about learning, not theft.
And here's where the magic really happens. When you try to perfectly copy your hero, you're going to fail. You can't. You don't have their mind, their body, their exact life experiences. And right there, in that failure, in the gap between their work and your attempt to copy it, that's where your own unique voice is born.
All right, we've talked about the big ideas, the whole mindset shift. Now let's get down to brass tacks. Let's build a real, actionable plan that you can start using literally today.
First up, climb your creative family tree. Pick one artist you absolutely love and just dive deep. Study everything they did. Then find out who they were obsessed with and go study them. Keep repeating that process. This is how you build a real education, not just a surface-level knowledge. It gives you this deep well of influence to draw from that goes way beyond your initial tastes. Second, you've got to build what Kleon calls a swipe file. Think of it as your own personal museum of stolen goods. Carry a notebook with you everywhere. Save images, quotes, color schemes, little snippets of conversations you overhear, anything that sparks something in you. This file becomes your secret weapon for when you feel stuck.
And finally, and this is so important, never ever stop learning. School might end, sure, but your education is a lifelong project. Be curious, Google everything, read deeply, chase down every reference you find interesting. It is always your job to fill your own head with things that are worth stealing.
You know, the best advice isn't to write what you know. It's to write the story you want to read. Make the art you want to see. Listen to the music you wish existed. So I'll just leave you with this. What remix are you going to make? What are you going to combine to create something the world has never, ever seen before?